Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Photographic Memory Podcast. I'm excited to welcome Dr. Mark Hayden. Dr. Mark, what's going on? How are you?
I feel great. It's a beautiful day. It's good to be alive. Got to make every day count.
Exactly. So our topic today is Codeganix. I have no idea where we're going on this one, but it's very interesting to look at specifically enough where the vaccine's taking us, different things. India is really in bad shape, but the United States is pretty much all hands on deck, back to normalcy. I was seeing certain dates of events, things are happening. They're like, I think in July, they're talking about, everyone attending events. Dr. Mark, isn't that true? I mean, everybody.
Yes, they're giving the general impression to the public that return to normal, COVID's over. Just let's. It's in the past.
Is that a mistake?
Well, if you look at Australia, Australia's really announced that they're going to go in lockdown for another year. Till like that's what they expect, at any rate, till mid 2022. If you look at the curve of death rates in India, something happened about 3 or 4 weeks that instead of flattening out or going down, it's
Right.
going logarithmic, turning straight up, curving upward.
And so, but they're just trying to paint the picture. The vaccine, I forgot what they're saying. Full on events in July. I'm just seeing different things.
I do not think that you are going to see an indoor basketball game with packed stands in the United States, even during the lull period. I don't think that's going to happen. And if it does, I think it'd be really irresponsible, but that's okay. I mean,
we'll see what happens. Yeah. All right. So you have Codeganix website right up for people watching the TV show. Again, now our show is on Amazon and Roku too. So I don't know if you knew that. So this TV show will be airing also on Amazon and Roku. But Codeganix Inc., when you look at specifically enough what's on the website, Dr. Mark, what is this about?
This is about inoculation using nasal rather than oral.
Okay.
And with inoculation, you take coronavirus and you use a coronavirus infection to produce protection against future coronavirus infection. Now, this is Codeganix. The phase 1 trial is going on in India. It's not going on in the US.
Right.
So remember I said, I think 6 months ago that inoculation started. If you look at the history of inoculation was actually developed in Asia before it spread to the West. And it came into the West in like the 1700s, 1800s, and was very effective at preventing smallpox that had like a 25% mortality rate. So then if you look at the history of why was the Western culture so slow to adopt inoculation, it really got into politics, it got into culture, and yet you're seeing the same type of process reestablish itself, that inoculation is being accepted in, I don't want to call them a third world country. I'm not here to put down India, but it's being accepted abroad more rapidly than it is being accepted in the more, quote, developed countries. Now, I did oral inoculation, and I did oral inoculation in the United States as a licensed physician. My son did it. My wife did it. It was effective. It stopped transmission within about 10 days. You're not transmissible. There's nothing today that the CDC has, no vaccine, that Pfizer or Moderna has, that can stop transmission faster than an actual infection. Of course, if you get infected in your lungs, you may have long-term pulmonary disability. You may get septic, you may have all sorts of, and you may need a burial policy because you may die. But if you get coronavirus just in your intestines, that may not even be picked up. So it might show up in your stool, but you won't be doing stool PCR
Right.
testing, and you won't be doing stool antigen testing in the United States. And so you would never, in the United States, we actually had probably 2 or 3 or 4 times the number of asymptomatic, no symptoms GI infections for every known respiratory infection. And that's with coronavirus. Now this is really going to blow your mind. The same type of asymptomatic infections have been going on with flu for all of our lifetimes. In other words, the reason why only like 15 or 20% of the people get flu, and it seems like it doesn't infect the other people, is a lot of the other people are actually having asymptomatic GI infections with influenza. So the same type of process is going on with a lot of other respiratory viruses. And one of the things that I did that, once you cross that Rubicon and start doing things outside the norm, guess what? I did the first influenza inoculation too on YouTube. So does inoculation work? Yes, it does. Now, what they're having in India in the last 3 or 4 weeks, within the last month, is a huge spike in their death rate. And that death rate is reflected on all of India's number, even though if you broke that down by province or locality, in certain of those localities, the death rate has literally skyrocketed.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's jump back. So basically for Codeganix, do you like this product?
It's a step in the right direction because it is using live coronavirus. It is attenuated. And you can see, I think do you see my screen on here? You're sharing my screen. You see the little blue circles? Now, one of the circles has a few dots on white dots, and the other circle has like more white dots. You see those? Those are viral cultures. That's what that's supposed to represent. And the Codeganix is growing, but it's not growing as fast.
Is this available in the United States, Dr.
No,
Hayden?
it is not.
Can you get it imported to the United States to take it?
Here's what's going to, let me tell you where the future of inoculation is likely to go. Codeganix is likely to be at least partially successful. And let me tell you why, partially. To be successful with Codeganix as a nasal spray, you have to actually have a nasal infection. That's that's more difficult than getting an intestinal infection. The reason being is your nose does not have as many receptors for the virus as your intestinal tract. The other thing is that when you have a runny nose, some of your population is going to have a runny nose, they're going to have mucus on their nose. They may not absorb the virus as well because their noses, and they may blow or sneeze, so it's not as certain as getting an oral inoculation. Is it very painless? Absolutely. Is it as painless as swallowing a capsule or a piece of candy that has live virus and is coated? I could probably go up to a remote village in India, and if I would eat and hand out candy that had live virus in it, that was coronavirus, and some of the local people might say, hey, Dr. Hayden, you're poisoning our kids. And here's how I'd handle that argument. I would take some of the pills myself. And if the locals in India saw me take the pills, they would know I'm not killing their children. And I'd say, look, you pick out which ones you want me to take, and the others will have live coronavirus and protect your children or your adults or your grandma. That would work wonderfully. And that will eventually probably be where that heads. But to do that, you had to prove that the idea of coronavirus, of inoculation, which has been set aside for about 100 years. Well, I don't know whether it's been that long or not. Probably, it may be less than 100 years that to revive inoculation, you have to have steps like Codeganix. And certainly Operation Warp Speed, last year, when I presented that to them, that would have been the way to go. They could have upscaled, they could have treated every American probably within 2 months with oral inoculation. But that's money. What do you call money morning quarterback in? Or
Yeah. So
whatever.
let's these are great points you're making about Codeganix and the different things. So what country?
And let me tell you the other problem. I have some problems with Codeganix. Let me tell you about the problems. Live virus or attenuated virus is never appropriate for people that are totally immune compromised. So let's say somebody just had severe advanced HIV, or let's say they've had total body irradiation and they're getting a stem cell transplant. If you give them a live virus, that could be fatal or cause severe. And when you spray it in your nose, guess what? That nose, and I want to talk, I hope Codeganix listens to this. And if you know anybody at Codeganix, please let them listen to this and try to improve their product, because that's what they need. We need to work together as a team to improve inoculation as a whole. When that spray comes out of that bottle, I assume that that's going to be a water-based spray. It's probably not, it can potentially evaporate. And as those particles get smaller, they could actually inhale it all the way down into their lungs. Now, it may be that when you do the nasal spray, you're told not to breathe in, and they have them sit there for a minute without taking a deep breath so they don't suck it into their lungs. But it is possible for the attenuated Codeganix to reach the lung. Now, it's attenuated. And for normal lay people, we'd just call this is a slow version of coronavirus. So even if the slow version of coronavirus reaches your lung, is it going to make you that sick? Probably not sick at all, because it's a slow virus. And unless you just have advanced AIDS or HIV, or you just had total body irradiation, in only very, very, very rare cases would you ever get a pulmonary infection with it. So is it generally safe? Absolutely. Is it going to have less side effects than the IM shots? Absolutely. Is it going to be lower cost to make than the IM shots? Absolutely. Is it a step in the right direction? Absolutely.
But not or like oral inoculation. That's the difference.
Yes, that's correct.
So, but here
it's not. Yes.
So when
eventually you'll. Now
here's
the problem with my approach for Codeganix. Codeganix is a for-profit company, and they are working with a for-profit company trying to do these phase 1 studies. Here's the problem with for-profit. If you take live virus and you simply candy coat it, everybody and their brother is going to be skipping these patents. Nobody's going to get rich off of it. Well, I'm sorry, but that's okay too. Do you follow me? We can live without big company profits. That's all right. But Codeganix, they have a proprietary attenuation process. That means they intend to make a profit off it, and good for them. And really, Codeganix has done a service to the world to even do the nasal spray phase 1 study.
Yes.
That's a world service. Whether their stockholders became super rich, should you go, if you own Codeganix stock, should you go in and tell your friends about it? Absolutely.
Right.
Will you become a billionaire or zillionaire? Maybe, maybe not. But what you should brag about is that you were a part of a process that improved technology. That should make you happier than getting rich as a pig. Okay. So,
okay. Yeah. So just, we're going to jump back to this whole thing with Codeganix in a way. So basically you snort it, a nasal spray. Yes. And so when do you expect this to be in the United States?
I think they're probably, here's how Codeganix, and if I was talking to their phase 1 people right now, I would tell phase 1, your nasal spray, great ideas, good starting. Take that attenuated Codeganix virus and put it, encapsulate it into a pill that can be swallowed, according to my patent that I've already put out. And then you'll be swallowing attenuated Codeganix virus. That's an attenuated live virus, very much like attenuated polio virus. And so guess what? Codeganix next phase could be an oral pill because it would contain the attenuated Codeganix live virus in a pill form.
Okay.
And that will probably be imported into the United States. And we don't live in a vacuum. In other words, there's people at Pfizer, they know about Codeganix. There's people at CDC and World Health Organization. You're going to see an attenuated live virus as an oral inoculation before the end of this year.
Absolutely.
You are going to see that before the end of this year.
All right.
That'd be my prediction.
So it's not in any country in the world right now, Codeganix.
Codeganix is in India, but it's not in the United States. And it's as a nasal spray. You're going to see an attenuated live virus, widespread phase 1 studies in the United States, in more developed countries.
Very soon. Talking, so swallowing like your vaccine.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
And then, so what does that mean for you with Codeganix coming out in the US with this, with the swallowing a live virus? What does that mean for what you're doing?
I'm getting a little bit of reverb. Can you say that again?
What does that mean to you then for your live virus vaccine moving forward? If they go to the US with a...
What it means is, you know, there's a saying, imitation is the best form of flattery.
Okay.
That's still true.
Yeah.
I am flattered that Codeganix would do nasal inoculation after I did oral inoculation last summer. So that makes me proud. I did oral inoculation. Now Codeganix is doing phase 1 nasal inoculation with an attenuated virus.
So they're only going to do nasal. They're not going to do swallow.
I think they will get to swallowing before long because these other people are not that stupid. Yeah, they'll go to pills.
So where are you looking to go with yours then?
You know, I don't have Codeganix proprietary attenuation process. So within the United States, I expect probably within 2 or 3 months, we'll have another resurgence. We're going to have lockdowns, I anticipate later this summer, by the late summer or in the fall. And I also anticipate that I'm going to take my family on vacation early in the summer, not late. So when we're going to plan our vacation right after Memorial Day and get down to the beach, enjoy ourselves, have a little bit of fun before everything repeats of last year.
All right.
So I mean, that's where we're headed there. And am I confident? Am I more confident today? I am more confident that inoculation will be successful and inoculation orally will be successful and will become the predominant method of treating coronavirus. That's right. And it will probably use an attenuated form because that means that classic vaccine companies can claim that they have a special attenuation process.
So you'll have
that they're high tech
to find it somewhere else worldwide. Your vaccine. I'll have to go to some other country. We'll have to go to some other country then.
Temporarily, but then it'll quickly spread over here. You're going to see before the end of the year, you're going to see all sorts of inoculation once this other wave comes up.
Gotcha. Okay, so antivirusair.com right now. They can go to antivirusair.com to see you swallow live virus right there, right now, right?
That's exactly right. And this is useful. This would be useful for the flu. This same type of inoculation process is useful for influenza. It's useful for coronavirus. And there will be so many other applications. You know, if you look at the CDC, they have been so hampered by not doing live experiments on live people. Now, that's going to come. Let me tell you, once people go back to saying, guess what? We don't need super sophisticated. Well, actually, what they'll claim is they'll need proprietary attenuation processes to make it attenuated, but it's still be inoculation. So I'm very. I told you so. How's that? People
Okay.
like to say, "I told you so." I told you so.
All right. Good talking to you, Dr. Mark. Okay, you always close us out with the positive thing
Yes.
after what we talked about.
Yeah. You know, I had a blessing to be born in the United States, to get a medical education. And the United States has its flaws. Its government has its flaws, and it has some good things too. But I don't control the government of the United States. People don't control the government of the United States. It's controlled by other people, by other forces. It is every day is a gift. My days are numbered. Your days are numbered. We need to tell the people we love that we love them. We need to make each day count. And life is a gift from God. And make it matter, make it count, and be thankful for all our blessings. Y'all have a great day, and it's been great to talk to you.
All right. Again, that was the COVID-19 vaccine show, guys. Take care.